Hey guys, Novel Bullshit here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about replayability and content and what we can expect from Sunbreak and what Rise lacked in comparison. Let's get into it. So Sunbreak is less than a week away, and if you remember back to base Rise, a lot of people had complaints when it came to content, there wasn't enough to do. They said, there wasn't enough armor or monster variety and so on, quest variety more like. And as we're coming into Sunbreak, we're really hoping that they're going to be fixing all of those problems. Now, when it comes to content, monster count isn't really the main facet of it. For example, base Rise had more monsters than base World, but that doesn't mean that Rise had more content than World, because World had a lot of the endgame features. It had a lot of tempered monsters, it had investigations, which elongated how much content you had. But off that, stream shows I think is a terrible system. But despite that, they did have more endgame features and more replayability features based in the game. So monsters are important, as like GU for example. A lot of the content in the game is based on a lot of monsters being in that game, but there's more to it than just monster count. There's also like I was saying, quest options. Investigations were a great way to build up different scenarios and different ways to fight monsters. 2 monsters at a time, 3 monsters in different maps, in different scenarios, in different time limits, and different feints as well. That was a really good way to change up your quests and not just using the same quest all the time to hunt. Let's say if you're hunting the same monster. That's mainly what we did in old games, but now it seems like people really enjoy that, and I actually enjoy that as well. So hopefully we get to see something like that in Sunbreak. Now, when it comes to also tempered monsters, tempered monsters was okay, but I think hyper monsters are much superior than tempered monsters, as hyper monsters in GU actually come with their own weapon trees. They branch off of the main weapon, and you get to create different weapons on the way. And the fights in general I think are more interesting, as they're faster, they're stronger, but they also vary in how they attack as well, which is great. So I'm hoping they go down that route to really elongate the playability in the game, as that's what GU really boosted up. GU had a lot of weapons added on with monsters, and you could just craft so much due to that, and hyper monsters really helped out with that. Something that Rise lacked in, definitely when it came to Apexes, and Apexes didn't have their own armor and weapons. Going on from that, we have things like endgame loops as well. Base Rise had one. It was the talisman farm. It wasn't as fleshed out as people would like. Hopefully Sunbreak has something similar to Iceborne, the Guardian Lands, and something to really flesh out how you craft, how you build talismans, how you really refine your builds in the later parts of the game. But it's not just the later parts of the game, it's also the journey on the way to the end of the game. Hopefully there's a lot to do on the way there. Not just about how many monsters are in the game, but also about how you actually get there in the end and what there is to do at the end, which is really important. So overall, when it comes to content, it doesn't just solely end up with monster count. It also ends up with the features, the end game, things on the way, things to really elongate and make things new as you go along. I'm hoping Sunbreak has all of that, so we can really enjoy it for the long term and not just a short or medium term. And I also hope we don't have to wait for endgame until the post content releases. I hope there's quite a bit to do as the game is already out. But then, if they want to add more in post content, that's fine. But there needs to be some when the game is actually fully out, because that's what we're paying for. Game's looking really good in gameplay. Like base Rise was really great in gameplay, but some of the content for the long term wasn't hitting the same for everyone. So, hopefully Sunbreak has that effect for everyone, so we can really enjoy it for the future. But that's it for this video, guys. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.